This is my reaction to Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, which just took place in the main event of UFC 324, where Justin Gaethje won the fight by decision over Paddy Pimblett. He wins the interim title in what was one of the greatest fights I've ever seen in my entire life of watching this sport. I've seen so many fights, and even before I was into this sport, I've watched back older fights from the past. This is up there with one of the greatest fights of all time. An absolute legendary fight to kick off the Paramount era in their first main event on pay-per-view. I have no idea. Listen, Justin Gaethje won.
Justin Gaethje edged out Paddy Pimblett by decision in the UFC 324 main event, capturing the interim belt in a fight that stands out as one of the most memorable matchups I've witnessed in the sport. This wasn't just an entertaining scrap, it was a full-scale spectacle from start to finish. It delivered exactly the kind of chaos you'd want to launch the first pay-per-view main event of the Paramount era. The pace never slowed, the pressure never eased, and every exchange left both fighters rocked, tested, and constantly reassessing what was coming next.
I have no idea how Paddy Pimblett did not get flatline KO'd on about 50 different occasions. If he lost, yes, he did lose, and if he lost any stock from this, the one saving grace is that he's been saying for a long time, we don't get knocked out, lad, and that would be the worst thing to happen to him. If he got KO'd in one of these fights badly, that would just be his ridicule forever. What happened to Scousers don't get knocked out, and it'd just be images of Paddy Pimblett out cold. I have no idea how he didn't get flatlined in this fight. Justin Gaethje was cracking him with so many overhand rights. And the worst part was, it
was almost unbelievable that he wasn't put out cold dozens of times during that fight. He absorbed repeated overhand rights from Gaethje, blows that would have instantly shut the lights off for most top-level fighters. Yet he somehow remained upright and aware, continuing to fire back, as if the rules of physics didn't apply. Staying conscious through that level of impact made no logical sense, and it turned his durability into the defining story of the night, showcasing a level of toughness that felt nearly unreal.
I bring up fouls in every fight breakdown I do. I know I wanted Paddy to win, but I am going to bring up the fouls. Gaethje fought very fucking dirty in this fight. A lot of eye pokes, a groin shot as well. I think Paddy Pimblett had a groin shot that he landed too, but that was towards the end of the fight where it was just an absolute mess of a scrap between the two of them. But Gaethje landed some really, really bad eye pokes on him. But it doesn't matter, because the result is the result. Pimblett gets beaten over 5 rounds. At one point in the third, and we can go through this bit by bit, round 1 through round 5. Round 1...
What made the opening round even more remarkable was the way Pimblett handled the damage, not just surviving it but often answering back mid-exchange or willingly taking shots head-on. Time and again, he finished sequences standing tall with his chin raised and his jaw fully exposed, eating punches clean. Every time Gaethje loaded up, it looked like the moment the fight would end, the kind of wind-up that makes you brace for a knockout, yet it never came. He almost appeared to exist as a target, but in a bizarrely durable way where even perfectly landed blows failed to shut him down.
Bobbled by any of these shots. Gaethje's chin is absolutely insane as well. That needs to be mentioned too. Pimblett was landing body kicks, knees to the body, low kicks, wasn't shooting any takedowns. Because I picked the mixed martial artist to win. So he was just duking it out with Gaethje in round 1 and 2. Low kicks, body kicks, head kicks out of nowhere, uppercuts, hooks. He was landing good shots on Gaethje. And Gaethje just at one point said, it's nothing, like that to him, and was just eating these shots. And then when Gaethje got going after the eye poke that he landed on Pimblett, which was pretty bad, and I was thinking, oh my god, no.
The fight wasn't without controversy either, as Gaethje crossed the line several times during the chaos. Late in the bout, he landed more than one questionable low blow, moments that stood out amid the intensity. Those fouls were hard to ignore, happening at pivotal points and disrupting the flow of an already wild contest, raising concerns about how much they shifted the momentum and fairness of the exchanges.
Body, teeps, low kicks, knees, punches, chin up in the air. You're wondering every time, when is he going to get slept? There's so many moments, and I was screaming, yes, we are DDP, basically, in the middle of this, because it was just like, dude, this is plot armor. How is he surviving these moments so narrowly, with millimeters to spare? Gaethje swinging these overhooks, and it's not even like Pimblett was landing and then weaving and then like coolly slipping out of the way of these shots. He was just there to be hit, but in such an awkward way that the shots were just whizzing past his head and face on so many occasions. I really thought this is it.
The opening moments were unexpectedly shocking. Gaither appeared a bit cautious, and Pimblett seized the chance, landing precise body shots that briefly gave the impression he might pull off the unthinkable and beat Gaither. My full attention was locked on Pimblett, genuinely believing he could make it happen. That surprising start immediately set an intense tone, signaling that the rest of the fight would be nothing short of brutal.
Against the cage in round 2, and then Gaethje cracks him with an overhand and drops him really bad in round 2. And it should be mentioned, a lot of the damage on Pimblett came from that moment. Amazing performance from Gaethje, turned back the clock. I thought Pimblett was going to win, don't get me wrong. But he did thumb him in the eye, and Goddard did nothing about it, even though he warned him about the eye poke before. Thumbed him in the eye, and then cracked him with a right hand that dropped him after that, and Pimblett then proceeded to really badly beat the shit out of Pimblett on the ground with ground and pound for about a minute straight. I think round 2 could be scored a 10-8, so even if you...
It was absolute chaos, despite Pimblett landing some devastating strikes. From sudden low kicks to powerful body and even head kicks, Gaither seemed almost unfazed. He absorbed the attacks in a way that suggested he was bracing for them rather than being caught off guard. With a tight guard and an almost supernatural tolerance for punishment, he took every shot Pimblett threw, showcasing a jaw and durability that very few fighters in the sport possess.
But if he lands this on other fighters, they are going out. We've seen it. We've seen other fighters get put out by that. But this is like Ferguson level chin, prime Ferguson level chin from Paddy Pimblett. Hopefully he doesn't have a similar trajectory after the Gaethje fight, but he was eating some heaters off of Gaethje in round 4, still landing his own back and having some good moments. But this is when it started to go bad. Like he would have a moment, then slip, end up on bottom. Gaethje's on top in that north-south, punching him in the head over and over again. Round 5, Gaethje won the 5th maybe, looking back at these stats. But Pimblett kind of had him wobbled at one point in the round. So I think that could maybe sway it a little bit, but one judge...
A brutal eye poke briefly stopped the action, and immediately I thought of past British fighters like Tom Aspinall, whose title bouts ended controversially. Yet Pimblett, eyes wide and focused, pushed on. He continued fighting only to take another punishing shot right after the foul. It was a raw, unforgiving moment that highlighted both Gaither's relentless brutality and Pimblett's unwavering determination.
I still can't believe what I watched. When I compare this to other great fights in UFC history, that was a shit fight for 3 rounds. Then it was 4th round, Gustafsson was doing good, and then he gets wobbled by the really good ending of the 4th round. And then round 5 was a decent round as well. But this comparable stuff, but with more chaos on the feet in terms of the shots they were landing on each other. Non-stop violence, because these weren't like tappy shots that they were landing on each other, you know? It wasn't like 27
After the eye poke, Gaither immediately launched a punishing assault, flooring Pimblett in the 2nd round with a crushing overhand right and following it up with a relentless minute-long ground and pound barrage, scoring a decisive 10-8 round that made victory nearly impossible for Pimblett without a finish. Yet Pimblett's resilience was astonishing. He absorbed massive blows to the jaw, rebounded, regained his footing, and fired back as if barely affected. His narrow escapes by mere millimeters had me on the edge of my seat, highlighting the sheer toughness required to survive such a relentless high-level assault. By round 3, momentum shifted as Pimblett, despite the earlier beatings, found renewed energy and began dominating, landing precise strikes to the head, body, and legs, visibly staggering Gaither and mounting one of the most thrilling comebacks in a fight already packed with chaos. Even a brief pause from an accidental groin strike didn't stop him. He finished the round strong, maintaining offensive pressure and composure. Gaither, ever the relentless warrior, regained control in round 4, using his jab to set up devastating overhand rights. But Pimblett's jaw and toughness continued to impress as he absorbed massive hits while still landing effective strikes and sustaining momentum. Every shot in this fight carried real force. This wasn't about light taps. Each significant strike was brutal and precise, making the contest nearly impossible to score while showcasing both men's extraordinary conditioning and grit over the full 5 rounds. Controversial fouls, especially Gaither's eye pokes, remained a sour note, raising questions about refereeing in high-stakes bouts, but they didn't overshadow the bout's intensity. This fight wasn't just entertaining. It was essential for UFC 324, rescuing the card with a brutal, unforgettable main event that justified early fan skepticism and set the Paramount era off memorably. In the end, the clash between Justin Gaither and Paddy Pimblett is already regarded as a top candidate for Fight of the Year, potentially joining the ranks of all-time UFC classics, celebrated for its relentless pace, wild exchanges, and the sheer determination of both fighters, leaving a lasting mark on MMA history.